Hi, Sophie here. So today I am chatting to you about red light therapy. This is something relatively new to me in my life, so I'm going to explain to you the benefits that I have found and the differences between all the different kinds of saunas and infrared saunas that there are out there. Okay, so right behind me, you see that I have this is a red light therapy device, this little white thing, and I also have a infrared sauna. So I'll be explaining in a minute the difference between the two, how you can actually get these devices, why I'm excited about them, etc. And also I'm going to explain the differences because it is really confusing, I'm not going to lie, between near infrared, far infrared, a basic sauna, and all these different things that we hear about. So I'm going to put it in layman's terms to make it really easy for you to understand, because that's the only way that I can understand things. So first off, I want to tell you how this all sort of came up for me. So I had a strain in my neck, how it all started. I actually had two muscle strains, one in my neck a while ago, and one in my pectoral muscle. And I have a really great chiropractor here in Los Angeles, and he uses a variety of different sort of treatments to help when, you know, the sort of adjusting doesn't work. Sometimes he really needs to, you know, have something, an adjunct, to be able to really get in and heal that tissue. And in fact, what I had was a herniated disc in my neck. And if you've ever had any kind of herniated disc, it creates nerve pain, which is like nothing I've ever felt before. And if you've had that, you'll know, because nerve pain cannot be dulled by a painkiller. So you really need quick healing, as quick as you can possibly get it. So anyway, all this to say that what he did was that he used red light therapy, and he had a little tiny device and just sort of aimed it on that part of my neck, and it healed super duper quickly. So that's the first thing that piqued my interest. So I started to do a little bit of research. Most of you know, who follow me, that as a wellness coach, as a health coach, I'm very research driven. So for me, I need the evidence, the science, evidence-based science behind everything, because I'm a bit of a skeptic. Otherwise I'm like, I really, you know, particularly living here in LA, I mean, really in the kind of epicenter of wellness, you really have to have a kind of level head on your shoulders, so you're not hoodwinked into crazy stuff, snake oil. So it worked on my neck, so I did my research, and lo and behold, when I did the research, I started to see that was just one benefit, was healing, was muscle recovery, if you like, and that all the other benefits suddenly were like, I was like, wow, with clinical-based, you know, evidence-based studies to back it up. And one of them, which was pretty interesting to me, was skin rejuvenation, basically as an anti-aging device. So I thought, this is kind of interesting, that I don't really, if I get these other little muscle strains and whatnot, I said that I had this pectoral strain, and you know, as time goes on, you get a little bit older, particularly if you're a crazy yogi like me and you're always on a yoga mat, you're going to get little injuries. And every time I didn't want to have to go running down to my chiropractor and spend, you know, $100 for a session to have this little light and annoying, you know, 30 minutes to get there, the whole thing. It's like, can I get one of these devices at home? So again, did more research, and then that is when I came across this particular device behind me, which is called the Joovv, and all the details are underneath this video. So I'm going to talk to you about the Joovv in a second, and why it's a big blessing in my life, and I'm a little bit obsessed with it right now. But before we do that, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the difference between the different infrared and saunas. So let's start off base level. there is something known as a sauna. We've all heard about it. Saunas have been used for time immemorial. It is basically generally a cedar box or a cedar cabin that you sit in that's sealed off. It's at every single spa and gym. It's dry heat. The heat gets turned up. There's charcoal coals. You throw a bit of water, eucalyptus, whatever, and you sweat. And I think there's great benefit, and it's not just my opinion, there's great scientific evidence behind how sweating like this 3 times a week can be extremely beneficial. Don't forget, we get rid of toxins in our body, or one of the ways that we get rid of toxins is through sweating. And certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, my father is Danish, and he said to me, it's just a way of life in Scandinavia that you go into the sauna 3, 4, even 5 times a week, whole families, and you just sweat, and it's relaxing, and it's really, really healthy. So that's a sauna, okay, number one, and that's the kind of least high-tech out of everything we're talking about, but no light involved, no light therapy involved. Then we get into infrared sauna. Now, when we're talking about infrared sauna, there is either near infrared rays or far infrared rays. Now, let's start with, so we've done sauna, let's go to far infrared, which is what this would be behind me, this thing. And I'll put the link for this underneath the video. So this is an infrared sauna that uses far rays. So what far rays means is that you're going to get benefits such as dramatically increased circulation. You're going to get, it's going to help with pain, like the pain of sort of arthritis or, general muscle aches and pains. You sit in it. This one, you can get like whole big ones that you walk into, like a little cabin that you can, if you've got room in your home. This one you sit in. I've done a video, I'll put the link to the video that I've done on this before. You sit in it and it sort of heats you about up to here. Super duper relaxing. I love it, for just sitting, and you can literally just work in it. You can put your computer there or read a book or whatever. So very, very relaxing. So it has some therapeutic benefits. But then there is near infrared. And basically, in layman's terms, it's as it sounds. The far infrared rays are only going to sort of go in or penetrate into your body so deep. And the near infrared rays are going to penetrate much deeper and actually work on a cellular level, a metabolic cellular level. So that is the gold standard. So if you have a torn muscle, if you have a really strained muscle like I did, you need muscle recovery and healing, kind of first aid, then you would definitely need the near rays. Now, in terms of heat, a sauna obviously needs to be extremely hot. Far infrared rays, like in this, it gets super duper warm, and you can control it, and you can bring it up to 100 degrees or even 120 degrees, and the heat is actually quite nice because the heat in of itself is relaxing. But funnily enough, the near infrared rays, there is no heat whatsoever. So when we think of light therapy, and this device, the Joovv device behind me, uses 2 things: red light therapy and the near infrared rays. So don't think that it's like heat and it's gonna, get really hot and it's gonna burn me. I'll turn the light on in a minute so you can see what it looks like, because it's bright red, because it is red light therapy. But you actually need to get really close to it. It needs to be about 6 inches away from your skin. But unlike, UV rays, it doesn't harm, it's completely the opposite. The UV rays, UVA, UVB rays, etc. from the sun, they create damage on a cellular DNA level, which is why we need to wear sunscreen, and it's the primary cause of aging, and skin cancer. So don't be confused between the two. Infrared rays are generally invisible to the human eye, and they are healing, not harming. So hopefully I've made that simple so far. I know there'll be questions, so do leave your questions underneath and I'll try and answer them. Again, I'm not an expert in this. There are many other people who are way more expert at if you really want to delve into the science. And what I will do is below the video, I'll put some links with some studies, with some evidence-based studies that I've read that are, have significant findings for me. But now let's talk about the Joovv, this machine, and how it's working and why I'm using it in my life. So again, this one here, let me move on my rolling chair so you can see. This one is the smallest device out of any device that Joovv does. Now, why did I choose Joovv? So I did some research, and as far as I can understand, without going into all the mathematics and science, which I am not even going to attempt to right here, but it really matters what strength those rays are. So don't cheap out and try and get, because they'll probably be flooding the market as people start blogging about this, but don't cheap out and get some sort of cheaper device. If you're going to invest in a home device, you really need to get one that has the strength. And Joovv, and I did tons and tons of research, really has the evidence and the clinical trials and everything behind it to be the only one that I was willing actually to invest in and have in my home, because what's the point otherwise? So again, you can go to the Joovv website, I'll put it underneath, and they have a lot of information there and you can read it for yourself. So they have huge big ones, like a lot of CrossFit people and athletes, I was telling my trainer about it, have these big, almost like kind of full body size, or almost like walking into a room. So I guess if you're an athlete and you're always needing muscle recovery and dealing with strains and whatnot, or if you're continually, I can't speak here, in a lot of pain, maybe due to arthritis, chronic arthritis. These might be two types of people that might really want to look into having a much bigger device than this. That is not me, plus I don't have room in my house, plus I couldn't afford it. So just saying, I wanted to get, the only one I could get was the smaller one, and it is a big investment anyway, price-wise. But again, the way that I justified it is, well, almost $700, but by the time I've been to my chiropractor, 6 or 7 times, by the way, and all the other things like the dermatologist, and there's a couple of places near me that do infrared sessions for, healing and skin rejuvenation and whatnot. I'm gonna be very quickly coming up to that $600-700 mark. So that's how I justify it. I always justify everything with cost per use. My husband taught me that. That's how he got me to stop buying kind of less expensive things, and lots of them. He was like, A, it's not green and eco-friendly, like preaching to the choir, and B, and we do a lot of preaching to the choir with each other, but B, seriously, it's like what is my cost per use? So I'm gonna, I'll switch it on at the end actually, because once I switch it on, I can't switch it off, and it's this really crazy red light. So I use it for 3 reasons, my Joovv. Number 1, because it promises, now I'm going to be honest, I have not seen the results yet because I haven't been using it long enough, and even if I had been using it for 8 to 12 weeks, I haven't got measurement devices in my home to measure the depth of the wrinkles on my face. But I will say I have heard anecdotally from women of my age saying huge difference in just their skin looking completely rejuvenated, and the clinical studies show that it actually does for people who, in those studies where they do measure all of that business, that there's a significant improvement in wrinkles, because what it does is it improves, builds collagen basically in your skin on a cellular level. It gets into those cells, and the science is fascinating. So it builds collagen and elastin, and that's the sort of framework that holds our skin together. And when we're young, it's all, you know, pliable and sort of juicy, and it just keeps the whole structure sort of where it needs to be. And unfortunately, as we get older, collagen and elastin breaks down, and the skin then begins to sag and wrinkle and have a completely different texture. And in some ways, we just kind of go with that gracefully, because that's aging and it happens to us all. But, you know, as you know, if you follow my channel, I'm all about, you know, finding little things that might really help and make a lot of sense and have science behind them. And by the way, on that note of collagen, things like, I've written a whole book, by the way, on skincare called Gorgeous for Good, but collagen creams and whatnot, they cannot penetrate the skin, just throwing that in there. So exciting to me to have something in my home that I can use for 10 to 12 minutes a day that will, apparently it's about 8 to 12 weeks that I'm going to see results, that will show results. Now, there's one more thing that I want to throw in here about this. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do 8 to 12 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes a day of just sitting there? Because you don't need to wear goggles with it, by the way. It won't harm your eyes. However, you don't want to stare into it, because it is a really intense red light. So you can't really read or do anything. You can listen to a podcast, actually. Didn't think of that. You could listen to a podcast. But basically, what I do is I set it on my desk. So it's on my desk, which is right over there. And it's kind of like this height. And it's adjustable, which is great. So you can adjust it so it goes like that. So then it's kind of a little bit more up to your face. Or if I wanted a little bit more down to my body, like I'm trying to heal my shoulder, my pectoral muscle, or my neck or whatever, you can sort of, it's quite easy to adjust this mini. And they have the little tools that come with it, which I didn't want to do this, where you can literally hang it to a wall or a door. So I guess if you have really bad back pain, you can just stand in front of it by the door. But I haven't done that yet. Might try that if I get those kind of issues. But what I love to do, here's how I love to use it, it's my new little ritual, is in the afternoon I meditate. So what I do is I'll just, if it's in the evening, I turn all the lights off, my office is dark, you need to have it about 6 inches away from your face, so pretty close to your face, or getting close. It's, as I say, it's not hot, it doesn't, you know, feel like it's heat on your face at all. I'll close my eyes and I'll meditate for 10 to 12 minutes. And that is such a lovely little ritual, because it's a kind of twofer. Get 2 for 1. I'm getting, you know, this skin rejuvenation, hopefully, and I'm meditating, and it's really relaxing. Once you turn that light on, it just helps you just to melt into this lovely meditation. So I'll do my breathing and meditating and do all that. And then, you know, before I know it, 12 minutes is over, turn it off, and I just feel great. So there's that. And the other thing that I have done is I also have a little bit of a twist. It sounds like I'm at the physical mess here, but I've had an injury in my knee for years and years and years, for like 20 years, ever since I did some crazy yoga move. And so what I'll do is I put the Joovv on the mini, on the floor, on my yoga mat, get into a little yoga stretch, like if you know yoga, like a Janu Shirsasana, or, you know, a forward bend. And then I just aim the light for maybe 5 to 6 minutes on my knee as I'm breathing and as I'm in that yoga pose. And that has been life-changing for me. That in of itself is worth the cost of this machine, because there is nothing, save going to my chiropractor, and I don't think his device, by the way, is as strong as this. It's certainly a lot smaller. Might be turning him on to the Joovv, but seriously, that is a great benefit. So I don't want to make this video 100 hours long, so I'm going to go, but before I go, I'm going to list the benefits underneath this video, because there are so many that it's just too many for me to list right now, and you might be interested in some of the other benefits of it, but what I wanted to tell you was the 2 benefits that I'm finding for me right now, which is the collagen building, and I'll do a little update and tell you if suddenly I look like I'm 20 years old. And by the way, because a lot of you ask, I'm in my 50s, so I'll do that, and also for these little muscle aches and strains and tears and herniated and whatnot, hugely helpful. So sauna, infrared sauna with far infrared rays, or near infrared plus red light therapy. Well, if I was going to pick, if I want, you know, instant results, well, very quick results, extremely therapeutic, almost magic bullet, go for your Joovv, I think it's one of the best ones out there. Red light therapy, near infrared rays. You want something that's therapeutic, you can hang out in a little bit. It's easy to hang out in this. It's just extremely pleasant to hang out in, particularly in the winter months when it's chilly outside. It's just so cozy and soothing and relaxing, and again, great for really increasing circulation in a way that's super relaxing. So I always say it's actually really great for those with diabetes type 2, because that's when you really seriously need to increase your circulation. And generally speaking, if you sort of have sciatica and you get up in the morning and you're like, everything feels a little cranky, really, really good call. And then finally, sauna, great for sweating, but a totally different thing, because this you can sweat a little bit if you really crank the heat up, but if you want that full head to toe body sweat pouring out of your every single pore, then you would need to go to a sauna. And personally, I will do all three. Hope you find that helpful. As usual, I've gone on way too long, but leave me comments, and you know, and do check out some of my other videos on all the other things that I review. Sometimes I review and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just give you tips, and a lot of nutrition, as those of you know who follow me, because I am a board certified nutritionist, and for me everything is about what we can eat and drink every single day that will significantly improve our health outcome for years to come. And since 80 to 90% of chronic diseases can be prevented by lifestyle changes, why not? And now is the time, because honestly, you pay now or you pay later. So lots of beautiful, fresh, organic, whole, plant-based foods, meditation, drink tons of water, and maybe try some of these beautiful self-care devices, gizmos, and practices, because all of these are actually as old as, I was going to say time immemorial, but it's not new science. And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Oh, and I just realized I'm back. I never turned on the device to show you, so here we go. Wait a minute. I'm going to shine it away from the camera. That. Boom! That's what it's like. And of course, this is how near it is to your face. So carpal tunnel syndrome, I could just sit here and chat with you for 15 minutes and my carpal tunnel syndrome is going to be a lot better. Okay, I really am going now. Bye guys.
Hi, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, there are hundreds more. And please also visit my blog at sophieuliano.com for detailed reviews, recipes, DIYs, and more.